I think you can start now. 7:01 already.
Okay, thank you, Dean. So I would like to start the webinar right now. So good evening and welcome to the fourth part of the simple tips. First of all, we would like to say thank you to the University of Cambodia for giving us a platform to speak, and also we would like to thank to our Dean, Ms. Gina Lopez, and also Bong Kim Heng for arranging this event. And also, we would like to thank our guest speaker for joining with us today, and also our audience for joining us for this evening, whether on the Google Meet or YouTube. So, before we begin, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Sain Sokia. I'm a year 4 student majoring in international business at the University of Cambodia, and I am honored to be the moderator for today's section, and I'm also with my partner.
Hello everyone, I'm Nessa Petra and currently I'm in term 11 and my major is finance and banking at the University of Cambodia as well. And I'm very glad to be co-moderators with Kian for this webinar.
Okay, thank you, Petra. So I would like to give a brief information about our webinar. So the purpose of this webinar is to provide simple tips to our audience, especially UC students. We are bringing our alumni to share their experience in order to motivate or inspire our students. So without any further delay, Petra, you can start.
I would like to welcome Mr. Rith Bunroath. He is a founder and CEO of Mega Catering Event and Wedding. He is also a UC alumnus who is now a successful entrepreneur. We have prepared some questions for our respectful guest, but if the audiences have any question, you can drop your question in the live chat section and some questions will be picked in the Q&A session, which takes place after our interview session. So without further delay, um, Mr. Bunroath, could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Okay, thank you, Petra. Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank you so much to Gina for always giving me an opportunities and inviting me as a guest speaker for today's webinars. And the topic is about entrepreneurship and startup. And regarding to myself, my name is Bunroath, and my education background, I only have one bachelor degree from UC. So I study only in UC, and my major is business management, and I graduated in 2015. And regarding to my professional background, I used to experience in a field of HR in human resource management most of my experience. First, I start as the assistant HR manager in one recruiting firms called Corporate Business Solution, which is a recruiting company. And this is my first career as well. And after that, I have moved to Chipmunk Groups in a career of as a human resource again. And at that time, I had promoted to human resource supervisor in Chipmunk Concrete. And after work with Chipmunk Concrete about more than 2 years, nearly 3 years at that time, I had moved to work at Cambodia Brewery Limited. If I talk about Heineken, maybe all of you know about that brand. And the brand of Cambodia Brewery Limited, we have Heineken, Amcher, Tiger, ABC, Stout. At that time, I was the HR commercial business partner. And after that, I moved myself to F&B industry. And I started with Starbucks at that time as the partner resource manager. At Starbucks, we don't call human resource, but we call partner resource because we value our people as a partner. That's why my position is a partner resource manager. And after that, I have moved to Parkcafe, which is my last career. And my position was HR director there. And I also in charge of some part in operation as well when I work with Parkcafe. And after the professional background, I have found my own company, which is called Mega Catering. Mega Catering, at the beginning, we do only for canteen business. So, and after that, we have expanded our service to event caterings. And also right now we have wedding catering as well. And after Mega Catering, we have started up another new business called Rith. Rith is a marketing agency company that we focus on how to support the SME business to translate their visions, their mission into reality through our marketing plans. And after Breeze, we also found another restaurant called Tasty. Right now you can find Tasty in front of Chipmunk Center. And after Tasty, we also create a Mega Food Production. Mega Food Production, it is a company that produce the ready cooked food or ready food and package and sell to the retail market. Like we do dry beef, like we do dry fish. And right now we also import the juice from Canada to sell in the retail market. Okay, and that's all for my background. So if you have any question more, okay, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Bong, for sharing that with us. And as we can get, our guest speaker has a lot of experience regarding his career experience. So I would like to know more about your learning experience. So could you share with us your learning experience at UC?
Okay. My learning experience. I study only with UC. Okay. And at that times, I can realize that study at UC can make me improve a lot. The first thing is English. I can say that the study program at UC, we study in English and can make me improve my English skills, my English language. And the second thing about the presentations. In UC, we have the group assignments and we have many activities that can make myself really confident. Before I start my career, I can say that I have a self-confidence already that study in UC because all the major, all the subject, all the class that I study, we always have a presentation in the class, so that the school program always allowing the student come up and do presentation. And the third experience that I really remember is about doing group assignments. So learning just only in the class, we can get 30%. But when we do the assignments, we can do research, we can try to understand the practical things and the examples of the theory. So we study in the class, study the theory, but when we do research, we understand how is the practicals doing. So because of that experience, when I study, that's why I can say that I easily to find jobs. Yes, when I do the interview, I have self-confidence and I can challenge myself and I can easily to find a job. This is about the experience that I studied with UC.
Thank you so much, Wong. So based on your answer, you have gained a lot of experience from UC, right? So I was just wondering, what were your goals while you were studying there?
My goal at that time, I want to. Okay, I can share with you. I have two goals. The first goal in the beginning when I study, I just want to find a good job and have a good position. So I study and I start work since I study in year one, as I remember. Yes, after finish year one, in the beginning of year two, I start working and I start to challenging myself. And the goal at that time, I want to be a senior position or management position. And after that, when I study, and when I study and working, so I can understand about how the world work. I can say that how the world work, and then I start to think about the business. And after that, I have changed my goal from employees to entrepreneurs, to have my own business. But at the time, I just have a goal to be an entrepreneur, but I don't have any clue or any tips in mind that what kind of business that I should start. Yes. So, but after I come back from Singapore, because when I work, I have a chance to go abroad for training and working as well. And after I come back from Singapore, I have bring a concept of doing a corporate canteen catering business. And then after that, I start to make a plans and I shape my goals to do the business in the F&B industry.
Okay, thank you so much, Bo, for sharing with us your answer. So, as you mentioned that you got I'm sorry, did you got an exchange or work in Singapore?
Yes.
So can you share with us a little bit more about that? How can it help you to reach more about your goals?
Okay. At that time, I was promoted as the HR commercial business partner at Hannigan's, and I had brings to train at Singapore at that time. And when I go to Singapore, I found the new concept at Singapore that they focus on the productivity. So in most of the commercial buildings or the office, they always have a food, have a canteen or food court, because it will easy to for the staff in the building easily to have a quick lunch and go back to work. And that concept, I think it will work if it applied in Cambodia, because it will increase the productivity, it's saving times, it increase the level of employee satisfaction. It can be a part of employee retention strategy. It can make employee escape from any accident or incident that they come to eat outside and sometimes cannot go back to work because of accident. And also about the health and safety. And when I found that concept in Singapore, it really worked. And then I have to bring that concept and start doing my plans. And then we start a business at that time.
Thank you so much, Bo. So another question that I would like to ask is like, first of all, where did the idea of starting up your own business come from, and when did you like really decide to start everything, to start your own business? Like, what was the starting point?
The starting point when I back from Singapore, the starting point that I confident that I should start that business, is about the market. So we try to understand about the market trends in Cambodia, and I found that most of factory, most of big company or big corporate companies, so they really need to have the canteen that can provide the food allowance to its staff. And at that time, we can say that in the market, it need that products. And then why should we don't create this kind of service in Cambodia? Because it worked already in Singapore, and it really successful in Singapore. And then I start to do a plan. So when I do my plan, and then I start to do analysis and compare the situation in the market, and then we start the business. And one more things, when I confident to start a bit that business, because we have our strong teams, we can say that we have our strong people, and that we have a clear plan, we have a clear directions, and then we can start it successfully. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Bong for your interesting answer. And as you mentioned about the way that you analyze the market trend, can you talk more about that? How difficult it is to analyze those trends and how you're working in the team?
Okay, so when I underline to the market trend, so first of all, we need to have a good direction, a good concept first. So we need to identify our products or service first. And when we have a clear product in mind, a clear service in mind, and then we have to form our concept together, and then we have to set our directions. After we set our clear direction, we need to form team, because team is really important in business. If you don't have team, so we cannot do anything. So I cannot do anything alone by myself. So I have to form up the teams. So at that time, I found that we have our good resource. I am good in human resource management, and I have my friend that good in operation, and I have another one friend that good in sales and marketing. And then we come up with a plan and do it together. After we have team, and then we need to make clear with our product and service. We sit down together and we write a concept of our service and product plannings, how we can apply it into the market. Because we bring the concept from Singapore, but we need to do it, adapt into Cambodia market and situation. So we sit down together and do the product analysis with some survey as well. At that time, we have to do the survey. So how many % of the factory in Cambodia, or how many companies that provide food allowance? So how is the challenges of that company if they do cooking by themselves? So if we have a service and then they will outsource their service to the third party, like Mega Catering. So what are the benefits and what are the savings? So we write all the things, all the detailed things together. And after that, when we clear all the things, we start our business by build a connection and relationships to our network. And we start to meeting with some clients and introduce our new products and new concepts. And after that, after we got interested from client, and at that time, so I have one factory that interesting in our new concepts, and they allow us to start the canteen at their factory. And at that time, we start the canteen business with that factory. And after we have the product and start the small thing in that factory, we do the legal processing. So we do a registration and and our business need to have a license. So we do a legal processing. After we do a legal processing and the business going well, so we start to write down the systems. So after product, after we have a product, we need to do a legal processing. After legal processing, we need to do a system. So system is mean that we do a system of work. So every team, every department need to have a system of work in order to make sure that all the department, all the team, they can work, connect with each other and link to each other. After we build a good system of work, and the next we build the communication. Communication here is mean branding and marketing. So we start to do branding and marketing. And until now, we can say that our brand, our company portfolio, so well known by many customers already. Okay, so this is about the process that we start since we start until now.
Thank you so much, Mo, for sharing with us the process of starting up a business as well as how to work as a team. So my next question is that is there any challenges that you have gone through, in the process of building up your own team?
Yes, for sure. When building up the team, we face in some challenge. If we do only by ourselves, maybe it's easy because only one idea. But when we form up a team, so there are many ideas, and sometimes our idea also conflict with each other. But the thing is about direction. I can say that when we form up a team, we need to clear about direction. Every single decision making need to follow our direction and fighting for the company benefit. So we are not fighting for individual benefit, but we're fighting for company benefit and fighting for our idea and our direction, our company direction. So based on my experience, so before we start doing business, so we need to clear with our team about the vision and mission and also the direction. If we don't clear about that, maybe when we start up, it will be difficult to make the decision making, because when we form up a team, sometimes we have a conflict, sometimes we have a contrast idea. So we need to make sure that every single idea that we make decision need to follow our company direction and fighting for the company benefit. Thank you.
Thank you both for sharing this with us. So I think the main point for this is to have the directions. It's like a common goals for the company, so everyone can work toward that goal together. So get a little bit back of what you have mentioned about the process of building up a company. I think I'm quite interested in that. So could you share with us like what is the most challenging process in that stage? Like which stage is the most challenging for you?
I can pick up two things to discuss with these questions. So the first challenging is about team and leaderships. When we have team, we need to apply the leadership. So the leadership we need to apply based on the direction and the vision of the company. So we need to make sure that everyone can work with each other well and can do it effectively together. And the second thing after this is about the system of work. So when we have a good team, we need to design a good system of work. So we need to understand about each individual responsibility and accountability. So I can share about this, about the responsibility and accountability of teams. So the responsibility is mean that what we need to do, yes, just only what we need to do. For example, when we form up in the beginnings, so my main responsibility is about operations and HR. So my responsibility, I need to recruit the people, I need to train the people, I need to make sure that the quality of product delivered to the customer is good. I need to make sure that the service that delivered to the customer is good. And I need to make sure that the experience that the customer get from our company is good. So this is about my responsibility. But how is my accountability? So my accountability is the levels of my effectiveness, and it should can measure. For example, my responsibility is recruiting people. So how many days that I can recruit my the people to work in the projects if the client signed the contracts, and how many days that I need to train, and after train, how can I measure that my people, my staff can do the job effectively. So I need to do the exam and measure by the scoring. So, and about the quality of our product is also the quality of product, the quality of service, and the experience that the customer get from us. So we need to make it measurable. For example, for the quality of products, so we have a checklist, and we have our checklist form to measure that how many score that our team perform. So this is about accountability in teams. So this is the first important thing. So in the team, in the individual working, so we need to identify the responsibility and accountability in order to make sure that everyone not will conflict with each other. And the second thing, when we for the second thing is about the system of work. So when we have a good team that have a good responsibility and accountability, so we need to link each other to work in the systems. If we don't link each other to work in the systems, so when one day you absent in the company or your team absent in the company, so each single process will be errors or difficult. Sometimes we don't know how to find or how to unlock that process if the process has been stuck. So it's mean that in the company not depend with only one people. So we need to do the system of work. So this two thing is really important for startup. So I can mention again, first thing is about the team responsibility and accountability. We need to clear about it. And the second thing is about the system of work. So we need to link all the teams to work with each other effectively and work in a system and not depend with only one people. So everyone understand the system and can apply the same. So this is the very important things.
Thank you so much, Bo. So the challenges that all small startup business has to keep in mind is one is responsibility, right, of the team, and also the system of work of making sure that everything is connected together and not just depend on one individual person. I think this is very interesting and very helpful as well. So the next question that I would like to ask you is that could you share with us some tips on how to successfully start up a business?
Thank you for your questions. So your question is about the tip of successful in startup the business, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I have some secret tips that's and this is about my experience. I can say that for successful entrepreneurs, so the first thing that we need to think about is about connections. I can say that I making the right decision when I start work at the same times. At that time, I have built my connection during my working times. After a good connection, we need to build a good relationships. So this is the second thing. So after we knowing each other, we need to build a good relationships. And after relationships is about communication. Communication is really, really important. If you are a grade A student, but you're not well in communication, so when you are doing business, you will difficult to approach to the people or to approach to the customer. So we need to build ourselves to be a good communicate with the people. And the fourth thing is about defining your plans into reality. So how I make my business plan into reality. So when I think, I always write down into my book. When I think, I always write down into my book. And when I write all that thing into my book, I can make analysis. I can say that I can make analysis. For some people, when they dream or they think, they never write it down in the book. And after that, they may forget it. And writing down my dream or my plan into the book, it always inspires me. when I open my book, I always see my plan, I always see my dreams, and it always inspires me every time. And then it will allow me to do a clear analysis as well into the book that I have write down my plan into it. And after you have a plan, you need to do a figure analysis. Why I can say my plan is different from other people sometimes, because for other people they write their vision, mission, direction, concept first. But for me, I just only have a concept and then I start do analysis. My analysis means that I do analysis in the figure. I do the projection analysis. I start to think if that business apply to the market, so how much the revenue that I earned. And if I got that revenue, so how much of costing that I need to expense, and how are the operating costs that I need to in charge of, and then how much of profit that I will earn. So when I write down all that number and do a clear analysis, the first thing is about inspiration. The number is inspire myself. And the second thing, I can say that it is clear. It is not a magic or it is not a lucky, but it is very clear and it is really logic, because we have to do a clear analysis with our concept and with the figure. And after we do a clear analysis and everything, we need to think about the cash flow. So how we find the money to start our business. Sometimes it doesn't mean that we need many money to do a business, but we can start our business with small things, but it really strategic. So like my experience, so when I start my own business, I don't have many money, but I have a clear plan. I do a figure analysis, and the first thing that I do, I print my name card and go to meet with my connection that I used to know before, the people that I know before, and start to introduce my business, my service to them. And after that, we can make a close deal. Yes, so I can make a conclusion. So my tips of successful in doing business, the first thing about connection, second is about the relationships, third is about communication, and the fourth is about the analysis on your plan and conception and your concepts, and should write it into your book or write it into your computer in order to make it clear and you can see it. When you write it down, you can see it, you can see your plan. But if you don't write it, you just remember it, one day you will forget it and you will not make a clear analysis. And the last one is about cash flow, how you can find the money to start your business. And this is really important.
Thank you so much, Bob, for sharing with us the valuable tips that is important for us as a student or the people who want to start up a business. So I have noticed most of them are more of a soft skill, like for example, the connection, the relationship, or the communications. Can you share with us a little bit more on how to, for example, like build a connection with the other? Is there another tips on that?
Okay, thank you for your question. Like I mentioned earlier, so I make the right decision that I study while I'm working while I'm studying. So I start to have my connection because I start to work. So when I start to work, I start to know people. I start to connect with people. So this is the way that I build connections. And after we know each other, we start to connect with people, we start to build relationships. So when we work with each other, so we can build a relationships. Just only connection is not enough, because connection is just knowing each other. But after we connect with each other, we need to build relationships. So in the relationships, we need to build it. We need in order to make it to build it effectively, so you need to have plan. So when you know people, you know many people, it doesn't mean that all the people that you know should build a good relationship with. So you need to qualify them, and then you have to make a plan to build a good relationship with them by trying to know about each other attitude, about to know each other behavior in order to easy to build a good relationships. And after you have a good relationship with each other, so the third thing that you need to have is about communication. So you have to build your communication. If you don't have a good communication to the people, so when you start a business, it will make you difficult or challenge to approach with the stranger or the new customer. So you need to build yourself.
Thank you so much for your answer. So it's all about trying to know each other's attitude, trying to be understanding and be communicative with each other, right? I think that is very helpful for us in building up relationships with others in general. So beside the soft skill that you have gained through all the experiences that you have been through in your working, what are the things that you have learned from UC that have helped you in your business?
Okay, thank you, Petra, for your question. So the thing that I have learned from UC, and it really effective until now. The first thing is about the good habit. So when we study, we have a good habit, and when we work, we also have a good habit. I can say when I study at UC, I have my good study habit. My good study habit, before the class, I always screen the key highlight in the book, maybe 15 minutes before class, because I don't have much time because I work and study. So I have maybe the start when we start the class. So before 15 minutes, I can review and screening the key highlight in the book. And the second thing, I ask question when I study. So ask question until I can say that until I can make a picture in my mind. So sometimes when the lecturer explain about the theory, about the key point in the book, it cannot make a clear understanding. So we need to ask a question in order to get a clear example and make sure that you can imagine it, and it means that you can print a picture about the theory, about the practice in your mind. So this is also the habit that I did it when I study. And the third thing is try to find those lessons in a practical life. So we study in the school, we study from the book. So it about the theory. So we need to try to find the theory into our practical life. So when I study from school and when I come to work, I try to apply it. So it's mean that we learn from the real things. And the fourth thing, the last one, is about share to other. So when you know it, you understand it, you should share it. When you share, it means that you talk it. You talk. When you talk more, you will earn more. You will remember it. So this is a good study habit. And because of those good study habit in UC, it lead me to have a good habit in work as well. So when I work, I can say that I learn more and do more. Because when I study from school, it's not enough. So I need to try to find the real experience in my working place. So I need to learn more and do more. And I try to understand how the company that I work for does its business. So the really important point for some people when they start work in one company, sometimes they just only know about the part that they work. But for me, I try to not only understand about the part that I work, but I try to understand how the whole company work and how that company business. So it is also the idea that we can learn from our working place, and it also apply to the theory in our book as well. So this is what I learned between my studying and my workings. And the third point, I always applies what I have learned from school to work. So this is also the important point as well. So when I was studying, I studied business management. So in business management, we study all the things like human resource, we study about the marketing, we study about the operation, we study about accounting and finance as well. So all those things I have to bring it and apply to my working place. And at that time, I can say that when we work, I never work and see my watch that okay, it's time, but I I try to work it hard and work for that company like my own business. So this is a good habit that I build from school and apply to work.
Thank you so much, Bong, for sharing your fascinating experience on how UC has helped you on your career or your business. I think I would like to remind to our audience on our live stream, we are halfway of our section right now. So if you have any questions or any like question that you want to ask more about our guest speaker, you can drop it in the comment sections. We will pick it at the end. And so let's get back to our question. I think I would like to know about one question. I think like people is really important, like a important part for a successful business. So how to choose the right people for our company?
Okay, it is a good question. So I can say that in one business, people is the fundamental. So if you don't have a good people, if you don't have a good teams, so the business fail already. So if you recruit the wrong people, it means that it lost. The business will be lost. But if you recruit the right people to work for, it means that profit. So the strategy that to find a good people to work with us. So the first thing is about yourself and about your company. You need to clear with yourself what your expectation. So for me, first thing I need to clear about the company direction and how much of and about the company plans. So in the business, you need to have a plan. So how much of revenue plan that I need? So how much cost that I need to expand? What are the operating costs that I need in charge of? And how much of profit that the company should earn? So all those things is about a plan. So when you have that plan, you will have an expectation. So the expectation, it will be applied to the job description and the KPI, the key performance indicator of each individual positions. So before you recruit the people, you need to clear about that first. When you clear about that, clear about the expectation and everything, you need to put that into your system of work. So when that people come to the company, so where is his or her in where is his or her point in our system? So when we have that clear, so I think that we can recruit the right people. I can say that the people they have their own talents. Sometimes they good with other company, but they don't good with our company. Sometimes they good with our company, but it's not sure that they will good with other company. So you need to have a clear expectation, and then you can find the right people and follow that expectation. And when they come to work with us, we need to have a clear explanation about our expectation to our staff in order to make sure that our staff can perform it effectively. And after they understand all the expectation, so we need to train them. Need to train them in order to fit with our business, with our company core value. And after they know all the things, after training, so the last one is about working with each other properly. So when we have a good people and that good people already trained, after train, they need to work with other people in the company. So they need to work with other department or with other team in the company properly and effectively with each other. So and make sure that all the team don't have any conflict with each other. Okay, so in the conclusion, I can summary it the way that we can find good people to work with. We have three. So first is about the expectation. So we need to have a clear expectation with the candidate, with the staff that we recruit for. The second thing, we need to train them to clear about our expectation. And the last thing, make them work with each other properly and effectively. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bong, for sharing a lot of interesting points on how to choose the right people for a company. I heard you mention about the revenue margin. I think like the profit is like very important when you start up a business. So what should be the right revenue margins that we should consider to start a business?
Actually, it depends on your business nature. I can say that for some business nature, the margin can 20%, 10%, or 30% or 50%. So it depends on the business nature. But as the entrepreneur, when you start up, you need to do a projections. So the key element in the projection, it has a revenue. So you need to understand about the market. So in the overall market, so you need to know that how many percent, if you will start that business, or how many percent of market share that you can earn. So, and then you can calculate your revenue. After you have estimate revenue, or we can sell that sales forecast when you have the number, so you can estimate about your cost. So the cost means the cost of goods sold. So after you calculate all of the cost, you will see that how much of gross profit that you earn. After you see the gross profit, you need to analyze about the operating expense. So what are the operating expense that you need to spend for that business? And after that, you need to think about the depreciation and the return on investment, because when you do a business, you start the investment, you put the capital. So that capital will be returned back through the depreciation. And you also think about the tax also, the tax regulation. So after minus all those things, you will see the profit. So for this question, I cannot say that how many percent or how many margin that you will get from doing the business. It depends on your business nature. But what I can share is about how to analyze your business projection properly. So the key element that you should think about is about the revenue, about the costing, about the operating expense, about the depreciation, tax, and finally is about the net profit. So there are 6 points in the projections. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bong, for a very detailed explanation. So each each company's revenue margin is different, depends on its nature, right? So for the next question, I was just wondering because we are now experiencing, the COVID-19 pandemic. So I believe that every aspect of our life is affected at some point. So my question is, how does the pandemic affect your business? In what ways does it affect your business?
Okay, this is a good question. As we know already, that COVID-19 is a world crisis, and many business has bankrupts or shutdowns. And referred if referred to my own business, it also affected. And I can say that 40% of the revenue has been cut off because our canteen business we do with many international schools, and when the COVID-19 starts, all the school has shut down, and our canteen also shut down. And the canteen in the school represent 40% of our revenue, so it has been affected. But during this crisis time or this difficulty times, as the management in the company, so I also try to find the alternative strategy in order to make our company can stand and can survive, and make sure that we not lay off our staff, and our staff can get their salary like before. So my strategy, I can say that if we draw the pyramid, at the bottoms is about the people. For me, people is equal to input in business, because in business you need to have input. After your input, you do processing, and then you will get output. People is equal to inputs. After you have inputs from your people, you need to think about your operation. Operation is about the processing, how your people processing the input. And after that, you will get output. Output is a financial result that you get. So the strategy is how to make your people work productively. So I can say that the productivity of people is really important. So when we meet the crisis and the people are not productive, so the company cannot survive. So we need to train our people. I can say that during this COVID-19, the people in the company need to train more than before, because we have time. Actually, we have time, and we need to train more. And after train, we need to build their capacity to be strong. And after that, we need to build our operation team, reinforce the operation in order to make our processing better than before, effectively. And after that, we can say that we can come up with an idea. When our people are strong, we have developed the new products for this crisis. So in order to survive, so we have to do we call business production lines expansions. So beside the canteen business, because the canteen business is really affected because of the school has been shut down, so we have to do the retail lunchbox. And after retail lunchbox, we have to do production, mega food production, that we expand our operation team to do dry beef, dry fish to sell in the retail market. Because the strategy of the company previously, we do only corporate. So all the canteen we cooperate with our respective clients. But when the corporate has been shut down, so we need to change the strategy and do it in retail. So we have to do lunchbox to sell in the retail market. We have to do some food like dry beef, dry fish to sell in the retail market. Yes, and we need to reinforce our team, reinforce our operation in order to make sure that everything is clear and we can survive and we can stand in the market.
Thank you so much, Bon, for sharing another interesting point of views on that. And I think I'm picking up another point about like staff training. Can you share with us a little bit more on like what area should we train on our staff?
Regarding to the area that we need to train our staff, it depends on their position, I can say. For example, they are in charge of operation. So the thing that we need to reinforce them. So we need to do a skill training for them in order to make sure that their capacity is grow up to another levels. And for the office staff, so we need to train them about the conceptual thinking, about interpersonal skill, so related to the soft skill, and also put some assignment for them to do in order to make things different or do the alternative strategy in order to make sure that the company can survive all in these difficulty times.
Thank you so much for sharing your tips on how to train the employees in order to handle this crisis. And I believe that it will be helpful for other businesses as well. So, as a senior who has, gained success both in your studying life and also your career life, your business life, could you share with us your tips on, you know, to the juniors who are currently taking online classes right now? Could you share us your tips on how to get the most out of online learning?
Thank you for your question. So I can say that because of COVID-19, uh, the technology moving very fast, and even though the school has been shut down and we cannot meet with each other in persons, but we still use technology to meet with each other and study through online. So if compared to the business, is the same. So when we made the crisis, so we need to find the new way to do it, and I can say that when we have the online learning, I can say people or students is faster growing in terms of technology. I can say in 5 years. So if we don't have this crisis, so maybe we don't apply online class, and online class is maybe not interesting. But when we meet with this crisis, online class is really interesting. And in terms of technology, we grow really fast. Even me, before COVID-19, I never expect to meet through online, or I never expect to do a meeting through online. But because of this crisis, I can say that myself can grow faster in terms of technology. I can know Zoom. I can know another application that we can meet with each other through online. And so it is the new thing, the new experience that we learn. And also in UC, so the school really highly commitments to do the online learning, and like for this session as well. So we do the online webinar to sharing good tips to each other. So it is really good things. And as I say earlier, so in terms of technology, so we can grow really fast and can learn new things and new experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bon, for sharing with us on that. I would like to ask you the next questions. I think like how should students be ready after graduating from college?
For student, for me, for my recommendation, if we have time, so you should to find a working experience. So because when you study in the class, so we just know what is it, but we don't know how to do it. So if we have time, we should to find a job and get some experience to know how to do it. And when you finish or when you graduate, you already ready to grow yourself into the senior level or senior position, or you want to start a business, it can be ready. This is just a one tip. And another thing that I can share to the student to prepare yourself when you study and when you graduate. So you need to build yourself in people skill. People skills mean that communication. So communication is really important. So you need to good with that. And the second thing is about the adaptation. So when you have a good communication, you need to have a good adaptation as well, because in the working environment, there are many people, many attitude, many behavior, and many working style. So if we are a kind of people that are difficult to adapt with other people or with other team, so it also cannot make you successfully. But if you're easy to adapt into the team, to the new culture, to the new nature, and can faster to understand about what your team want, what your team needs. So it can make you can work with each other really smooth and effective. And the third thing is about the relationships. So when you have a good people skill, a good adaptation, so you need to build a good relationship with the people around you, because in the future, those people will have you back because of their relationships. I can say in the current business, if you have less relationships, sometimes it's difficult for you to close the deal. Like me, I can say that most of the deal that I close, so because of the relationships, because they know me, they confident or they trust me. That's why we can close the deal. So in the conclusion, I can say that when you study, if you have time, you should start working, because in order to get the experience, and you need to focus on the communication, about the people skill, and about the adaptations, and also build a relationships.
Thank you so much, Bon, for sharing with us your tips on how to get ready for, like after graduating from college. So you have mentioned about, adaptation and building good relationship with others. And I think this is a very useful tips in order to strive in our career life. And I believe that this concludes our interview session. However, we still have another session going on, which is the Q&A session. Then we will pick some of the questions from our audience in the live chat in order to ask you. So we've already got some question here. The first question is from Vanasot. He asked regarding about mission and vision. Do you think it is necessary for startup to have them or not? And which is the area of focus for startup?
Okay, thank you for the question. I can say that vision and mission is really important for startup business, because it shows about the directions. So when you have a concept in mind, or you just have 30%, but if you have a clear vision, clear mission, it means that you know how to apply it into the market. You have a concept, it shows that what is it, what you want, or what you want to start. But a vision and mission will translate your concept into the action and into the direction. So you have to make it very clear. If you don't have a clear vision, mission, or direction, sometimes it can make yourself lose focus. Sometimes when you start and then you lose the focus because you don't have a clear vision and mission. But if you have a clear vision and mission, when you start, you not lose the focus because you have a clear direction already. So we can say that it is really important for startup. And the second question is about what is the really important point that we need to do for startup, right? So Petra.
Yes, yes. He asked about the focus for startup.
Okay. For the second question, okay, the first thing you need to have a concept. When you have a concept in mind, you have to do a vision, mission, and direction. And after that, the second thing that really important is about planning and analysis. For some people, they do only plans, but they don't do a deeply detailed plan. So the deeply detailed plan that I mentioned is about the analysis on the figure. For me, I start the business plan from the figure first. Before I start the marketing plan, human resource plan, operation plan, I start to think about the figure first. So I do the figure analysis. So after I have a clear vision, mission, and then I do a figure analysis. So the figure analysis, I need to think if I have one product or one service, so how much of market share that I can earn if I started, and how can I get those market share? So what are the strategy that I can inject my product into the market? And after I can do that sales forecasting, I need to find out about the costing. So if the sales revenue in this number, so how much of cost that I need to spend? What are the operating that I need to spend? So we need to think all that detail, and then we will understand that this business can survive or not when we start, and how is the margin. And then you need to think about the risk. So if anything error, so how can you survive, or how can you use another strategy to replace your first strategy? So you need to do the plan B. So when the plan A is finished, after you finish, you need to do a plan B. So the plan B, you need to think, so if the revenue cannot reach to the point, so what is your second step? If the cost cannot control based on your plan, so what is your second step? If the operating also cannot control, so how will you do it? So you need to think about that. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Bong, and I hope our guest speaker have answered your questions, Savanna. So I would like to move to the next questions from Rith. Her question is, what kind of marketing strategy did you use to promote the business when it was newly started up?
Okay, thank you for that question. I can say that I use the marketing mix as a fundamental to start up the business. First, I need to think about the products. So how is my products can serve to the customer? So I need to clear with my product first, and after I clear with my product, I need to set up the price. So does the price is really fit to the market or not? And the third thing is about the place. So the place means that the channel of sales that I can bring my product into the market. So the place it doesn't mean it is a big building in the big road, but sometimes it in online, sometimes it in other place that you can inject your products or bring your product into the market. And four is about the promotion. So when you have your product, so what are the promotion activity that can support to your marketing strategy? And after that is about the people. People also is a part of our marketing strategy. We need to make sure that our people well trained and can translate our product and service to the clients in the same way or in the standard way that we plan to have. And the sixth point is about the process. So process is also about the marketing. So we need to design a process of our selling of our sales, and how we sell our product to the customer, and how the customer can buy our product, and also our internal process. So how can we serve to the customer, and how is our service. So if you build a complicated process, sometimes it can make your marketing strategy fail as well, because customer difficult to reach to you or reach to your products. And the 7 points is about the physical evidence. So when you have all the things that I mentioned, so physical evidence is really important. You need to prove to the client that you can do it in order to make your client trust. A physical evidence can be your reference, can be your outside looking, like packaging, like everything that you can prove to your client, that to make sure that your client can trust on your products. So this is the 7 P of marketing mix that I use as the fundamentals to build up the marketing strategy in the company.
Thank you so much, Wong, for a very useful tip. So in order to, the marketing strategy that you have used is marketing mix, which consists of 7 Ps, right? I hope it answers your question. And we have another question from Danita as well. So she asked, shall we spend big budget on marketing when newly start the business?
Can you repeat again, please?
Her question is, shall we spend big budget on marketing when we start the business?
Okay, regarding to the marketing budget, so this is expand on your projection analysis. But for the standard budget that we spend for marketing, it should not over 10% of your revenue. This is my recommendation. But it doesn't mean that we apply that number to all the business. So unless you do a clear analysis on the projection, and then you can put how many percent of the budget that you should spend for the marketing. But in standard, it should not over 10% of your revenue.
Thank you so much, Bob, for sharing that, and I hope he have answered your questions. So I would like to move to another question from our audience, from Suong Minion. Her question is, based on your own experience, what the major factor that led you to start up your own business besides working as an employee anymore? And what are the challenges that you faced at that time?
Thank you for that question. So the thing that inspired me to do business rather than to be an employee. So actually doing business, it's not about only profit, but it's about helping people in the society. So when we do a business, we can support our people in the society and also make the economics growing. So this is a part why I start doing my own business. And the second thing is I can say that doing a business make me really excited. Actually, it like playing a games, but if you are an employee, you also playing a game, but you play for employer. But when you start doing your business, it means that you play a game for yourself, and it really excited. And I can say that this is also my my passion and my attitude that I really like to challenge this with myself to and it also really excited when we start that game and we can win that games. Okay, so this is why I start my own business. And the challenge things that for start up the business. So for start the business, there are many challenges, not the same to when you work as an employee. So work as an employee, you have limited responsibility, and you have challenge, but not too much. But for doing business, I think I can say that you have many challenges. So the first challenge is about team and people. So if you cannot build a strong teams and you cannot build a good people, so it will fail from the beginning. So this is really challenge. As you know, one people, one idea. So we need to make sure that everyone do the right thing and do for and do everything based on the company direction. So the first challenge thing is about the people. And after you have a strong team, you need to clear that your team can speak a lemon language. So I can explain what is the lemon language. The lemon language, it's mean the standard. If I ask you what is the taste of lemon, you will answer back the lemon taste is sour. So you need to make sure that your people well trained and they can deliver the same standard, the same service to the customer in order to make the customer get the same experience. So this is about the operation, about how your people processing the work. It's meant the operation and can deliver a good output to the customer. And after you have a good people, you have a good processing and operation. The last thing is about the customer experience. So you need to make sure that the customer have the same experience when they use our product or our service. So if the customer have a bad experience or not happy with our service or products, so it is really difficult. So we need to make sure that every customer get the same experience from our people. So this is the challenge in business.
Thank you so much, Ron, for sharing us your experience, including the major reason that you have decided to start your business, as well as the challenge in terms of recruiting a team and building good relationship with people. So I have another question from Bong Kim Payne. He is very interested in, about training your employees. So his questions are, how can you train and adapt so fast during this pandemic? And in terms of human resource allocation, how do you make the employees feel comfortable when they switch to other fields of your business, as you have mentioned?
Yes, thank you for this question. So yes, as I mentioned earlier, so during this COVID-19, so we focus on the training in order to build our team capacity. And when the COVID-19 finished, so we make sure that our team strong enough and to do the bigger thing and to cover back what we lost from the past. The strategy is, I can say, I can raise about the alternative strategy for this question. So during this COVID-19, so the company, we need to do the alternative strategy. So we need to do things different. So everything that we used to do in the past, so it has been affected. So we need to have a new idea. That's why we create mega food productions in order to bring some revenue. I can say that when we meet the crisis, it doesn't mean that everything has been stopped, because people still spend the money, but sometimes they stop spend the money to buy your product, but they buy another product or buy another service. So as the management in the company, you have to do alternative strategy in order to make sure that you have another product or another service to fit with the situation. So during this crisis, so we can say we see that most of people not go outside to eat. So that's why we design a new product and a new service to fit in the current market, the current situation. So the people don't spend the money for the corporate service anymore, but they still spend the money for the retail, our retail service. So that's why we have mega food production that can produce dry beef, dry fish, and lunch bar that can serve to the client in this situation. So we can earn some revenue to cover what we have lost. So for every company, so they need to do like that. So it doesn't mean that when the people stop spending money to your existing product, and then it doesn't mean that you stop everything. So when your customers stop spending money to buy your existing product, you need to create a new product or new service in order to fit in the current situation, the current market, and then you can still get the revenue to survive. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bong, for sharing another interesting answer. So I think since the time is almost over, so I would like to end the Q&A section here. But before we end these sections, do you have anything to say to our audience?
Yes. First of all, I'd like to thank you to Gina and to University of Cambodia and our moderator teams that's spending, and also all the audience that's spending a time to watch this live webinar from the beginning until finish. And to me, I have some tips to share to the student. I can say that this is my principle of success. So my principle of success from the beginning until now. So the first thing, all of you should have life plannings or goal setting. So this is really important. If we don't have a clear goal setting, we will lose focus ourselves. So in order to make yourself focusing to the success point, so you need to have your life planning and goal setting, and you should write it down into your notebook or into your computer in order to make you remember about it. And the second thing is about optimistic. So all of you guys should be positive and try to learn more and more. So if we don't open, we don't learn more. So if you stop learning, it means that it is the end of your knowledge. So you need to optimize and open and learn. And the third thing about creative. So how can you find the creative? So my recommendation, if you have time, you should to find a part-time job or a full-time job to apply what the theory they're talking in the book into the real practice. So what we study in the university, we know about what is it, but if you want to know about how to do it, you should to find the place to apply it. So, and then you will have creative thinking. And the fourth point is about the implementation. When you plan, you need to do it. You need to implement it. If you just plan, just think and not do, the result will never happen. And the fifth point is about self-confidence. So if you don't confident with yourself, So no one confident with you. So you need to build your self-confidence, build your communication in order to make sure you are good in people skill, in connection, and building a relationship. And the last point is about hard work. So when you work, if you work for yourself or work for other people, please do it. Please do it hard, because if you don't work hard, so your result also not hard. But if you work hard, your result will be hard also, will be big. So this is my principle of success. So if you focus to do it or you want to do it, you need to do it hard, need to do it effectively. So this is what I want to share to all of you. Thank you.
Hello. Just want to insert something because I think my questions were not highlighted or read. So I think so King can read my questions before we really end. Finally, so King.
Okay.
Please.
So sorry. Let's just have some another question from our Dean. Sorry for missing your questions. So from our Dean, question is, it is really your dream to have your own business, and the reason you took business management major?
Thank you for our Dean question. I can say yes, because when I was young, I want to be a businessman. And when I graduated from high school, I chose the major business management. And actually, before I start choosing the business management major, I also researched it when I study high school as well. So what is the business management? And I understand that the business management, so it will teach me all the parts in the business, even though it's not detailed in all the part, but that all the part I can understand it as a basic and can manage it. So that's why I chose the major business management.
So there is another question from our dean as well. She has asked, it seems like your business is growing faster. So is there any projection or plan of expansion in any part of Cambodia, or any line of business that you plan to offer?
I have a plan for expansion as well. And that's why from year to year, we can say that we also have our new company. And the reason that we have a newly company, I can say that this is also the strategy of our company. I can share with you, before we have only mega caterings. And at the time we want to we want to have our marketing teams in order to make sure that we can exposure our branding and communicate to the world, I can say like that. But we don't create our marketing department, so we create a marketing company. So when we create a marketing company, we can do more than what we think. So we can support our internal company and also the external company. So the key strategy in our business is about a build entrepreneur. So if we want to create one department, before we create the new department, we will think about create the company. So if we want to create the marketing company, the marketing department, we will create the marketing company, like we create Rith. And we also motivate our team who can handle that company to have some share. Uh, so this is our strategy that we can expand our business more and more. And about the plan that we will expand in the future. So beside the mega catering, beside the breeze, beside tasty, so we will plan to do mega trading. So the trading company, we plan to import the product from abroad, any product that fit to Cambodia market. So we will import it from the abroad and sell it in the Cambodia market. So this is our plans of expansions.
Thank you both for sharing your interesting plan for your future business. So I have another final questions. This is the final question. So from Khan Udam Visna, his question is, how do you define your company directions, especially when you have so many branches?
Okay, thank you for this question. So, like I mentioned earlier, direction is really important for doing the business, but how to define it properly while we have many kind of business. So the first thing you need to know about your target customer first, your target market. So you need to understand about your market, and you need to understand about who is your target market, who is your target customer. So when you know about your target customer, you will can design your clear direction. So what is your direction in order to serve for your target customer? And then you can apply the right marketing strategy into the sales channel.
Thank you so much, Bob, for your answer, and I hope that it answer Visna Khan's question. So I believe that we can wrap up our webinar now. So first of all, I would like to say thank you to the University of Cambodia and our Dean Gina, as well as Bong Kim Hei, for giving us this platform in order to arrange this webinar and invite our guest speaker to be able to share his experience on this platform about entrepreneurship and simple tips in doing startups. And of course, our session wouldn't be successful without our audience. So we would like to thank our audience for their active participation in this webinar as well. And I would like to thank our guest speaker, Mr. Rith Bunroath, for sharing with us many useful tips and for being here despite his busy schedule. So, King, do you have anything to add?
Well, I just want to add a little bit. So the same to me, I would like to thank the University of Cambodia, our Dean Gina, Bong Kim Heng, and especially our guest speaker today, and also our audience. And our guest speaker here share a lot of useful tips and also a lot of interesting part and the important step on how to start up a business, and also like how can we overcome such challenges. So I believe this is a very fruitful discussion so far. And yes, that's all for me.
Can I
So,
add something? Okay.
Oh yes, please,
So
Avadin.
yes, so thank you so much for joining us, Bunrod. And I hope there will be next time for this. And with your success in doing business and also generosity in helping others, because I know that our students also approach you sometime to seek some sponsorship, and you did not really have any hesitation, but you are willingly giving not only what they ask, but even what they don't ask, you are giving it. So, and that I think makes your business really successful because you have a big heart, actually, a big heart to help, yeah, a big heart to share. So that's why the return is really a lot of folds to you. That's why your business just in 5 years time, it's really bigger. And I would like to say um, thank you for your time sharing us this evening. And also, I am so proud because you studied only in the University of Cambodia. I know that the trend in Cambodia is really studying in two universities at the same time, but for you, you focused in UC, particularly in our School of Business, and it makes our product really big because of the alumni or because of our graduates that really realizing their goals, attending or joining the university, creating their goals, and then after the graduation, yes, you are one of those successful students from the School of Business, and I'm always proud of our students, and because that is our achievement. Whatever you achieve, that is also our achievement or our accomplishment. And with that, yeah, I'm so thankful. I'm so happy, and yes, this is not the last, but it is only the beginning. Okay, so thank you so much again, especially for our moderators and Soking, Sophia and Kim Heng, and of course all the audiences. And this webinar will also shared later on in our page so that for those who were not able to catch up this evening because of the final exam start tomorrow, they can watch it over and over again through our page, through this YouTube live streaming. Okay, thank you. So you can
Thank
close
you.
now. Sophia.
Thank you.
Thank you once again, Bong. We have
Thank
learned a
you,
lot.
everyone. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so thank you everyone for joining these sections. I would like to end this webinar here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, Bong.
Goodbye, Bong.
Bye.
Goodbye, Bong. Bong Kim Hei, are you there, Bong?